Okay, I want to talk about George Groves against Froch. In boxing, there is no smoke without a fire. And I mean this by saying that if you're hearing it on the forums and you're hearing fighters go back and forth about it and the names be mentioned over and over and over again, sooner or later a decision will be made to try and sell the fight to the fans, and they see what fans will think. You know, put it out there, hear how fans respond on forums, on Twitter, on Facebook. And this fight I can see happening for a number of reasons. I don't agree with it, and here are my reasons why I don't agree with the fight. But who cares about my opinion? I'm going to give it to you anyway. George Groves is at best a prospect, and I say this because how can you call him a contender? Yes, he's got knockout power. Yes, he's got some nice moves. Yes, he hits and tries not to get hit. Style very similar to David Haye. But he hasn't fought anybody in the top 10. If you're going to say his best win, okay, yeah, he beat James DeGale. And I think the pair of them only had a handful of fights between them when they had that fight. And even James DeGale himself is still very much an unknown commodity. And I mean this in the sense that he fought for a European title and in that fight almost got knocked out. And that's something George Groves didn't even come close to doing, for all those people saying that George Groves is this big puncher. Now, you've got Froch on the other hand, that has been beaten by the best super middleweight in the world, and probably, if not the second best pound for pound fighter in the world. Okay, fine. And the Avengers lost to Mikhail Kessler. Now for me, Kessler's been fighting since the days of Joe Calzaghe, and he's been for a lot of wars. And you give Carl credit for beating Kessler. I was one of those guys who thought Kessler was going to knock Froch out late, and he almost did in the 11th, but couldn't finish it up. So fair play to Carl for a great win, and a great win against Lucien Boutte. But George Groves has fought nobody apart from DeGale, put him to one side, really nobody of note to be a mandatory challenger for the title. Don't get it. And why would people pay to see that fight and make it pay-per-view? What has George Groves done significantly to make you think, yeah, he can beat Froch? And here's another point. People forget about his fight against Kenny Anderson. Kenny Anderson can punch, but Kenny Anderson's not by any means fast. He can punch, but he's not dynamic. He's not anything particularly special. You know, I like Kenny Anderson, but you know, if you talk about Kenny Anderson and Froch, you just wouldn't make the fight. Kenny Anderson's tough, he's strong, but that's it. And since that fight, and Groves has been dropped that way he did. Yes, he got off the floor and he won the fight, but since then there's been a lot of careful matchmaking, and there's been lots of things. I mean, Adam Booth kept saying, yeah, we're going to put him against top 10 guy. He's going to be in against a top 10 guy. Well, who's the top 10 guy? The last two fights, where's this top 10 guy you're putting him in against? You know, trying to maneuver him into position, as he's done with David Haye, maneuver Groves into position to win a world title. That's fine, that's fair, that's great, that's what you meant to do, management. But does Groves deserve a shot at Froch? No. But then someone would say to me, okay, so then who do you think Froch should fight? Well, for Eddie Hearn, it's a win-win. If Froch wins, money. If Froch loses, Groves wins, he's got the future. So, for Eddie Hearn, why does he care? You know, okay, he cares for both fights this year, but money-wise, you know, So it's good money for Matchroom and keeping it in the house. So let's keep it real there. I'm not saying he doesn't care for his fights. I'm just saying that that's just a fight that can be made. He's not getting in the ring taking any blows, so why not? Bob Arum's done it before, so why not? So in-house fight. Yeah, back to my point. In terms of guys that Froch could fight, well, yeah, he could fight Andre Ward again, but that's high risk and no reward, because I think Froch knows within himself to fight Andre Ward and the way Andre Ward beat him. Froch has not improved. His inside game has not improved. So Andre Ward would get back on his chest again, lay on his chest, and fighting him on the inside. And Ward showed in that fight he was physically stronger than Froch. So I don't care if Froch think he had a bad day, he had a good day. Technically, Froch would have to keep Ward from getting on the inside. It's not going to happen. I think Ward gets inside, stays on his chest again, and you look at another points win. So forget that. And it's not a big selling fight anyway. So let's move on. Who else could Froch fight? Well, he could do the Joe Kawasaki thing. Joe Kawasaki, coming to the end of his career, went up from super middleweight up to light heavyweight, and he took on Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. Two pound for pound great fighters. Okay, you can't say that Bernard Hopkins was shot, because Bernard Hopkins has gone on to win world titles, and in fact is now considered the best, the best light heavyweight in the world, bar Adonis Stevenson, because of that one punch win over Chad Dawson. Okay, so you can't say that Kawasaki beat a shot Hopkins. And as for Roy Jones, okay, that was more fight because more nostalgia. I think at the end of the day, people wanted to see that fight to see if Roy had anything left. So it was a case of what Roy had to bring to the table rather than what Joe Kawasaki could actually do. And you saw what Roy could do by dropping Joe in the first round. Joe got off the floor and for the rest of the fight completely outboxed Roy. You just wonder what would have happened 5 or 10 years ago. But let's not go into that conversation. That's what I'm here. So Froch could do the Joe Kawasaki, and if he really wants to be considered a legend, is got up to the light heavyweight division. Well, first of all, for Froch, he's not even the best super middleweight in the world. Let's get this straight. Andre Ward is the best super middleweight in the world by a margin, and quite a wide margin at that. So he's not the best super middleweight in the world. He's the second best super middleweight in the world. Okay? And then he's got to go up to light heavyweight. So then he'd have to fight Adonis Stevenson, Nathan Cleverly, Usmanov. Is it Usmanov? Or what? Yeah, I can't remember that Usmanov. Usmanov's the guy's name. I can't remember the guy's name again. But yeah, he's got to fight that guy as well. Not Usmanov. Shumanov. That's his name. Shumanov and Jean Pascal. So if he fought Jean Pascal and Hopkins, that would be two good fights at light heavyweight. But he's saying he's too small for light heavyweight. I wouldn't say that Joe Kawasaki was a massively big light heavyweight. He was a big super middleweight. But when you look at guys like Chad Dawson, he looked small against Chad Dawson. So Froch could go down that route. Or the fight that I would make at this point in time would be against GGG, the man known as Golovkin, right? Why would I make that fight? Well, here, look at this. If GGG was to move up to super middleweight, okay, he would be considered a dangerous threat, a puncher. Nobody can say he can't punch at super middleweight. So I believe he fought Lucien Boutte and dropped Boutte, and Boutte is a big super middleweight. He's gone up to light heavy now. So I believe that would be a viable fight. Golovkin's got a name. He's got a following. He's got the European following. Of course, he's breaking into the world in America. So that's a big thing as well. Froch is a European fighter. He's known in America. It's a big fight. It could make a hell of a lot of money. And if Froch were to lose to someone like Golovkin, well, okay, Golovkin's the future. If he turns around and knocks Golovkin out, wow, that's a statement. Because if Golovkin's good enough to fight with Andre Ward, who's the second best fighter in the world, or the first best, pound for pound second best fighter in the world, then why not? That would be a good fight. Golovkin's unbeaten. He's young. He's fresh. He's hungry. String of knockouts. Why not take that fight? And a world champion, another weight division, and a dangerous man, and considered probably now the most dangerous man in the middleweight division. Why not make the fight? That makes more sense than against Groves, who hasn't even won a world title yet. Let me know what you guys think. I think GGG versus Froch sells more, is more appealing, and means more to the world. Your call.